National Ramp is the premier ramp manufacturer in America, and we bring you Made in the USA ramp solutions. Here we will demonstrate how to build the Triumph Series steel mesh ramp in a right turn out to a switchback configuration. Each ramp system is shipped with a packing list. Be sure to check that all items listed are present before starting the installation. Today we will be building a right turn out to a switchback ramp. It is also recommended to recheck field conditions to make sure nothing has changed since the evaluation. This way, you can make an adjustment before starting. In the hardware bag, you will find the 5/16 hex head bolts, 2 1/4 carriage bolts, 7/8 carriage bolts, acorn nut, hex nuts, washers, and driller screws needed for the installation of the ramp. First, orient the starting platform on the sawhorses with the beams of the platform and the toe plate running parallel to the travel direction. Once you establish which side of the platform will be facing the house, you can attach the starter bracket and the top transition plate. Choose the starter bracket that is the same width as the starting platform. Line up the starter bracket against the platform and use a 5/16" hex head bolt, a hex nut, and 2 washers found in the hardware bag to anchor the outer hole first. Repeat on the other side. You can then bolt on the top transition plate using the same hardware configuration. You can go ahead and tighten the starter bracket and the top transition plate since they will be going against the door and they are in their final position. We will now put the legs on the platform. We will get the height at the door and adjust the legs as close as possible before we set the platform in place. More often than not, platform legs will have been trimmed so they are within an inch of the platform at the travel surface. You must measure from the bottom of the footplate to the travel surface to get your leg height. Insert the leg into the cone, adjust the leg to the desired height, and then gently tighten the set bolts. Once legs are installed, we will now attach the 5-foot toe plate with the 5/16" carriage bolts from the hardware bag. Don't put bolts on the ends where the corner bracket will be going, as they will be sharing the same bolt holes. For the bottom row of holes on the corner bracket, you will use the standard 5/16" hex bolts. For the top row, you will use the short carriage bolt with a washer and a hex nut. You can tighten the toe plate but leave the corner bracket hand tightened for the handrail installation. You will now put the platform in place and adjust the legs to make sure the platform is level. Once the platform is leveled, you can work on the first ramp section. We will show installing legs on sawhorses for this ramp section. Please note that the leg cones are on the bottom of each ramp section. You will insert legs to the height needed and tighten the set screw. The legs must stick through the top of the leg cones at least 6 inches. You will confirm they are close as possible to the height desired. Once legs are installed, you will set the top of the ramp into the groove of the platform. You will then install this 36" starter bracket. You will always need a starter bracket at the start of every run of the ramp. The starter bracket will be sandwiched between the ramp and the platform, and it's held in place with 2 5/16" hex head bolts. Hand tighten the bolts at this point to make attaching the handrails easier. Once the ramp is attached and the starter bracket in place, you must make sure the ramp pitch is correct at 4.8 degrees and side to side are level. We recommend using a digital level to check your pitch. You will now install the next section of ramping. We will show you how to set legs and ramp standing up if sawhorses aren't available. Insert legs into the leg cones and tighten the set bolt at the desired height. You will now hook your next ramp section into the groove of the previous ramp. A starter bracket is not needed here since we aren't starting a new run. Now bolt the 2 sections together with a 5/16" hex head bolt. Before you install the switchback platform, double check that the ramp run is 1/12 and level side to side. Another way to check that the ramp slope is consistent is by using a string. Tie the string at the top of the ramp run, then pull it down the run above the side rail and pull it tight. The ramp is low if there is a gap in the string, or high if it is pushing up on the string. This typically works best when you have 3 or more ramp sections in a row. Once the ramps are set, you will now get ready to install the first platform of the switchback. Once you have the correct orientation of the platform, you will bolt on the toe plate. Once you have at least 2 bolts on the toe plate to hold it in, you can install the corner bracket. Again, the corner bracket and toe plate will share the same holes. After any needed trimming, you will now install the legs and set to the desired height. Once legs are installed, you will drop the platform into the groove on the end of the ramp. After leveling, the platform can be bolted to the ramp using the 5/16" hex bolts. Repeating the same steps as the previous platform, you will install the toe plate and the corner bracket. Add in the desired legs and set the platform into position. Bolt the 2 platforms together using the 5/16" hex head bolts. In order to connect the ramps across the switchback platform, a center bracket is needed. Center the bracket on the outside of the switchback platform across the seam of the 2 platforms using the 5/16" hex head bolts. You will now install the final ramp section with the bottom transition plate. The bottom transition plate will be secured to the end of the ramp section with the 5/16" hex head bolts. Since the last section will be sitting on the ground, it does not need legs. It will need leg inserts to support the rail posts. The leg inserts should lie flush with the leg cone. After tightening the bottom transition plate and leg inserts, you can place the top of the ramp into the groove on the platform. Because it is a new ramp run, you will need a starter bracket to go in between the top of the ramp and the platform. Now that all the ramping and platforms are installed, you will put rail posts over each ramp leg. Make sure the holes on the rail posts are facing into the ramp so that the handrails can be bolted on. After you have confirmed that the ramp pitch is correct and the ramp is level, insert the driller screws into the legs to secure them into place. Now the ramp is safe to walk on. You will now install the handrails, starting from the top. All handrails will only be hand tightened at this point. The handrail will go on the inside of the starter bracket at the door, and it will go on the outside of the corner bracket at the end of the platform. When a rail attaches to the starter brackets or corner brackets, use the short carriage bolt with washers on the outside and an acorn. You will use 2 washers on the outside of the rail for a tight fit. When 2 rails are connecting, only 1 washer will be needed. You may need to push or pull on the starter bracket to get the handrails to line up. When a rail attaches to the rail post, you will use the longer carriage bolt. You want the bolt head facing into the ramp and the acorn nut facing the outside. You will continue to install all the handrails except the inside corner on the switchback platform. Once all the ramp handrails are mounted on the outside of the ramp, you will install the outside end loop. The end loop's attached the same as the handrail. You will install the inside end loop once you have completed the inside handrail. You will now install the handrails on the inside corner of the switchback platform. Start by attaching the inside corner handrails to the starter bracket using the short carriage bolts. This bolt should face into the ramp so that you have room to install the bolts for the off-going 5-foot handrail. Now you will connect the off-going ramp handrails from the starter bracket to the rail post and the inside end loop. To finish the installation of the handrails between the starter bracket and rail post, first line up the railings with the oncoming ramp section to make sure they are on the same plane. Then use a driller screw to mount and secure the handrail. At this point, you can tighten everything. First, tighten all the ramp to ramp and ramp to platform connections underneath the ramp. Then you can start to tighten the handrails. As you tighten the handrails, make sure they are lined up and the rail posts are plumb. Once all handrails are tightened, then the driller screws can be put in the bottom of the rail post through the small holes. Please note that you only need 1 driller screw for rail posts, except for the last rail post by the bottom transition plate. To provide extra security for the end loops, put a driller screw through the leg insert and the rail post on the outside, approximately 6 inches above the toe guard. Now that everything should be tight, you will want to walk up and down the ramp and make sure everything feels secure. If you hear something rattle, that is an indication that some bolts were missed during the tightening. Thank you for working with National Ramp and providing someone with their freedom now.